we open up with stars. This is, again, this harkens to that full moon. I'm not surprised to see it opening up here with star, which means your hopes, your wishes, your dreams, because it really talks about that night sky and that first day of March, highlighting you accepting yourself as you are and really focusing on what are your hopes, what are your wishes, what are your dreams, Libra. It's sort of like there's a star in the sky and the full moon is shining on that as well. Just saying that if you have already arrived, if you were just you as you are naturally, what would your hopes, wishes, dreams be? And how can you allow that in? It's really conducive to that at the beginning of March here, Libra. So this is a beautiful major arcana card that has to do with renewal. It has to do with feeling refreshed. It has to do with feeling acceptance, allowing acknowledgement of what your hopes and dreams are. I always see, when I see this card, I always think of the Jiminy Cricket, when you wish upon a star. It's got that energy to it where you're accepting and allowing things in, and especially your dreams. So kind of double energy with that full moon and the star card at the beginning of March. And I see both of these cards, it's very interesting, both of these cards have to do with renewal. Star has to do with inner renewal, and Judgment has to do with giving something a second chance. Star comes after Tower. Both of these are major arcana cards. Star comes after Tower, which has to do with the period after an upheaval. Tower usually depicts a change, a breaking down of old structures. I always think of it as like a thunderstorm or something like that. And Star is the feeling that you get like after it rains or after the thunderstorm has passed. It usually feels like everything's washed clean, and that's the feeling of Star. So it has that gentle, sweet renewal where there's a lot of calm, there's a lot of hope, there's a lot of sort of new beginnings. Judgment is a renewal card as well, but it's got a little bit different of a feeling. This is about spiritual fire that comes in and cleanses things. And you can see in this card that there are souls here that have been buried and are getting released for new life. So it's really about clearing out old baggage. It's actually kind of echoing what I was saying about the full moon in Virgo in your 12th house, where it's a focus upon what your hopes and wishes are and an illumination of that. But along with it comes a clearing out of old baggage. And this means letting go of stories of the past. It means, let's let go of anything that you are carrying that is karmic, anything that you're carrying in terms of old hurts, regrets, resentments. I always associate this card with forgiveness, because the power of forgiveness has a way of burning away anything that is stagnant, anything that is old, anything that is sort of sticking around and making us not feel alive and free. So consider, Libra, with both of these cards, that there's really two ways to approach accessing your hopes, wishes, and dreams. And one is acknowledging them, taking a good look at them, shining a light on them, and you're getting help doing that at the opening of March. And the other is to clear away any weeds, baggage, old stories, anything, I'll call it clutter, that is preventing you from accessing that. So it's really a cleaning and a sweeping away, and it's maybe revisiting something that you really wanted to do. And it's coming around for a second time. It's saying, oh yeah, I remember that I always wanted to do this. Or it's remembering perhaps a relationship, renewing and reinvigorating a relationship. Judgment is always about a second chance, second life, being reborn, something being renewed, a great time for renewing of the vows. How did you want things to be, and how can you implement forgiveness in order to cleanse out old ghosts that might be hanging around. So this is really great energy, and the full moon is right there with you, helping you to look at that sector. So let's see what else is going on. It really specifically has to do with your dreams. So if you wanted to be an artist or be creative, or if you always wanted to run a marathon or climb a mountain, or whatever your dreams are, we're all different, so we all have different hopes and dreams, but it's really saying that it could be a time for you to remember that and focus on that wish and clear things out that may have been impediments or just like little barricades or boundaries to prevent you from doing that. Now is an opportunity to clear that out and release that, because full moon energy is releasing energy as well. And the power of forgiveness is really going to aid you and enable you to do that, Libra. There may be a focus on your work here at the beginning of March. Eight of Coins has to do with making money. It has to do with being creative. This is the artisan card. Kind of means like whistling while you work, being happy with what you're doing, creating lots of products, or creating a lot of, if you're an artist, creating a lot of artworks. If you write music, this means putting out a lot of music. So whatever it is that you're working on, that you're creative at, that you love to do, it's cranking out a lot of it and being happy about being productive. So that's a nice card to see at the beginning of March as well. We've got Queen of Swords in reverse. That's usually you, Libra. I read Queen of Swords as Libra. This is usually an air sign, so Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, but I'm reading this as you. And there may be a way in which you're not feeling 100% on top of your game, or like 100% yourself. You may not be speaking your truth. Normally, Queen of Swords is very clear about her boundaries, very clear about her thinking, is in alignment with the truth. That's what the sword represents. But with Queen of Swords in reverse, it's almost like there's something dampening you down, whether that be that you don't feel like you can be as creative as you want or spend as much time working at what you love, or you're not standing up and speaking your truth, or that there's something that you're not sharing with someone else, that you're being a little bit more lax on your boundaries, whereas Queen of Swords in the upright really defends her space. It might be that someone else is entrenching upon your space and you're not addressing it as you normally would. But let's see what else comes up. Oh, okay, because there's something that needs to be let go of, that you're afraid to let go of. That's really interesting. Death is another major arcana card. And when I see Death and Judgment together, these two cards kind of go together, because Death is a card of passing away. It's a card of cutting away what is no longer serving us, what is no longer alive, and going through a transformation to let new life in. Judgment has to do with releasing the past, which is very similar here, but letting the new life in. This is sort of like letting go of, when I see both of these cards, I always think of this Buddhist saying that says, let go or be dragged. Now, with Death in reverse, there's definitely a fear of letting something from the past go. You can see that this sickle here is here to cut this rose that has passed away, or that no longer has life and is dying. But in order to have new life happen, this needs to happen. The sickle needs to cut this, and then the new seeds of that, or the seeds from that rose, can be planted for new life. But when Death is in reverse, there's a fear, doubt, or resistance about letting something go. And what I'm going to say is that if there's something that you're holding on to, whether it's a resentment, or whether it's an old idea or an old belief, an old story, this may be holding you back from letting go. I'm going to go back to this and say that there may be something that you need to forgive, whether it be in yourself or someone else, or even in your family, in order to release fears about letting it go. I'm seeing that somehow there's some sort of security in believing in the old story, or holding on to the old way of things being a certain way because it was so beautiful. But you're going to need to cut it in order to have new life, to be present in the moment, in the current moment. And that might be why you're topsy-turvy here, is because you're looking at, like, where did my rose garden go? You know, look, I just want to be the person surrounded by the roses. I don't want to have to let go. But in order for you to have this renewal that's trying to come in March, you're going to need to do that, Libra. So look at whatever, try to question whatever fears, doubts, or resistance you might be having to letting something go. You're at a point of transformation. But you have to allow that transformation in order for it to happen. And actually, you know, it's funny. for some reason, before I go into the next card, this cup, I always am drinking coffee out of this, and it says nothing is ever black and white, and I'm noticing there's a lot of like black and white in this card, so I'm going to say try to look at the gray in between. It's not like it's this way or it's that way. Try to see that it's a spectrum of black through dark grays through to light grays to white. That there's more than just two options. I don't know why I'm thinking that, but just with the message on the cup and seeing that, it's try not to see things in terms of polarities in the middle of March, but as something that is like an adjustment. Different tones of blue, different tones of green, different tones of red. It doesn't have to be black and white, on or off. It can be something that is adjustable. For example, again, it doesn't have to be that you always do something or you never do something. It could be that you do it some of the time, or that you do it, more of the time or less of the time. Think about it in terms of adjusting something, not necessarily on or off. It's just a transformation, it's a change, it's an adaptation. There are lots of choices that you may not be seeing, and that might be part of the fear of letting the old thing go. There may be lots of options in front of you, but you're not sure of which path to take. So it's kind of holding you up. It may be holding you in this place of fear, kind of at 80%, like not sure which way to go forward. But there are plenty of choices, is what this card says, Seven of Cups. You may be resisting taking a time out. You may be so focused on your work or what you're trying to create that you, in the middle of the month, may not want to pause and reflect and take a time out. This is Four of Swords, which means rest and relaxation. It means meditating on things, thinking things up, sort of just like hanging your thoughts up on the wall. And when it comes in reverse, it's usually about fear of fearing that you don't have the time to take a break, fearing that you can't miss a step, that you can't miss a minute or an hour. And I'm really going to say that if you take the time to, if you remove whatever fear, doubt, or resistance there is in the middle of the month towards looking at what your options are, you may see it more clearly, and that may enable you to make this change and consequently make you feel more yourself. So whatever it is, if you feel any confusion or doubt or fear, doubt, resistance is usually why cards appear in reverse, consider just taking a time out and pausing to think about what the different ways that the future can look. Because this is a card of, cups is our emotional self, it's the heart. And it's taking on a lot of different possibilities here, but you're not allowing yourself to see those possibilities because you may not feel like you have the time to consider that, or you may have fear about just even looking at that. So that's going to be my recommendation, Libra, in the middle of the month, is to take a time out. Even if you're afraid to, even if you feel like you don't have time to, even if you're in some ways afraid of what you'll discover, I think you can see that you'll have some nice options, a whole range of options. And again, this speaks to the fact that there's a whole range of things, not just one or two options. It's not just this or that. It's not just yes or no. It's like, it could be anything. It could be whatever you sort of dial it in to be. So consider that there may be more options than you are necessarily seeing, especially if something's coming to an end. Let's see what else is coming up. Ace of Swords. Looks like you find the truth towards the end of the month, Libra, or towards the middle or end of the month. This is the same sword here. Queen of Swords usually carries the truth, and this is you, Libra, whether male or female. And Ace of Swords is the card that is I call it truth with a capital T, and it's a card of victory. That's what this crown is about, of triumph, of clarity. It's a revelation moment. It's an aha moment. It's getting that insight. So I really see that if you do this work of allowing yourself to take the rest, allowing yourself to take the pause, to consider what your range of options are, you get this aha moment where like, okay, here's the path forward. Ace of Swords is a card that cuts through any confusion, which, Seven of Cups can also represent. It cuts through any nonsense. It cuts through anything that's not clear. It's a card of real clear, sharp clarity. And I see this sort of correcting whatever it is that you're maybe feeling out of sorts about, or just not 100% clear about. You can see that it's almost like taking yourself out of the perspective and seeing it objectively, because that's the difference between this card and this card. You're here, Libra, Queen of Swords, and this is just the truth standing on its own. So you may need to pull out of the situation a little bit objectively in order to really see the true, objective truth and how it represents your truth. There may be a little bit too much subjective viewing of a situation, and it's going to help you to step back, see your options, and release black and white thinking, and release whatever fears limit you through that type of thinking, and you'll get to this aha moment, to the truth. So that's what the storyline here is from the cards. What else have we got coming up? King of Swords in reverse. That's Queen of Swords partner. Can be an air sign, Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, but whoever your partner is, or potential partner might be, they're appearing in reverse too, so this is kind of weighing on them too. They may not see things. They may not see the same truth as you. They may see things from a total 180 different perspective. Let's see what else is coming up for them. They may want control in this situation. I've got two major players here, King versus Emperor, and they're at 180s. So there could be, towards the end of the month, some power struggles. This could be you sitting in your King authority and fighting against an Emperor, perhaps someone older than you, or whenever I see two cards like this, I see two kings in the castle fighting it out. This one's saying, this is my truth. This one's saying, this is my truth. What's interesting is that the swords are pointing in the same direction, so it's actually the same truth, but they have different perspectives on it, and they're kind of battling it out. There may be a little bit of an ego battle or domination, vying for control. This could even be like a father or, say a husband versus the parent, like a father. Or it could be, there's some sort of dueling here for authority, control, power, where they're not seeing things eye to eye. Let's see what else is coming up. Yeah, there's two ways to go. This is very interesting, Libra. Your sign is represented by the scales, which is two balancing forces. And there's a lot of this duality in these cards that are coming up, with the black and white here, with the two here. So March may be a time for you when you're struggling to whether to go left or to go right, trying to make a choice between one option and the other option. This card, Two of Wands, always says, in terms of taking action, which is Wands energy, receive help. There's someone here who is not shown in the card, but who can be of assistance. So seek out help if you're trying to make a decision, especially towards the end of March. That can be really helpful. And even like seek out mediation if there are two conflicting parties in terms of authority, and try to see it in terms of a gradation, a spectrum, a whole range of options. Instead of just black and white, see it as a multiplicity. That's going to help serve you. Yeah. And that's going to help get you out of any limiting thinking. I really see the limiting thinking as if I'm stuck here, there's no choice, there's no way out, there's no getting caught up in your thoughts. Whereas really what's going to serve you is action. So my takeaway for this month, Libra, for you for March is, in the middle of the month, really look for that aha moment, the clarity, the truth that comes out of stepping back, stepping away, going inward, taking that necessary break to see your range of options. Try not to get caught up in dualistic thinking, black and white thinking, and receive help in terms of making a decision, especially if there are two different very strongly held beliefs and views about the matter. You're going to get insight in the middle of the month if you look within. You really are. And there's going to be some renewal that helps you really focus on what your wishes, dreams, ideals. 12th house, where your full moon is showing up, is really about idealistic things, things being in a sort of fantasy perfect way. And you can focus on that, you know, while you're working things out, while you're being productive. And when it comes to truth, really try to be objective about it and try to clear out anything that feels like negative thinking, excess thinking, too many options, or not too many options, but not seeing all the options that you have, that black and white thinking, that's really going to serve you. So I would just say really embrace this card, Four of Swords, which just means sort of musing and meditating, and this card, Star, which is about focusing on your dreams, your hopes, your wishes, and desires. And that's going to sort of be the star that guides you through March, Libra.